We at the Adventure Bike Shop have used our experience from our own halfway around the world and back travels. To put together a range of products that we think are top quality, will last you a trip, brands we know and trust, products we've used ourselves. Dumb products, and what am I going to say? Welcome to the Adventure Bike Shop. This is now getting good.
The Adventure Bike Shop, proud sponsors of
Adventure Bike TV.
Hello and welcome to episode 12 of Adventure Bike TV. It's the end of our first year and thank you so much for all your support over the last 12 months. We're going to be starting this month's show with a bike that we reviewed much earlier last year, and it's our first long-term test. All the way back last summer, our second test bike was the KTM 1190 Adventure R, and you may remember that I was actually rather fond of it. In fact, I was so fond of it, I ended up buying it. We all know that Red Bull does a lot of sponsorship with KTM, but what we found out on the lap with this bike was it's not Red Bull that gives you wings, it's Bob.
3, 2, 1, go!
You can just tell he is loving riding this bike. Just look at all those dwarfs literally digging out the hillside. His back wheel is getting so high there. KTM has so much power, it's really making up time on the uphill sections. I do believe he's sprouted wings and is flying. So, I've had this bike for almost a year now, and what's it like been living with it? Well, I've been using it for commuting to work, I've been using it for weekend trips. I did a big trip on it to Switzerland and Germany last year, and I've been over to Wales, and I've done a little bit of off-roading on it. And I tell you what, I absolutely still love it. To me, it is one of the most complete motorbikes I've ever ridden. And it doesn't matter whether I'm riding it in the wet, on the wet setting, or whether I'm riding it in the dry, on the sunshine, on the sports setting, and it feels like a sports bike, but in an upright position. I really, really, genuinely still love it. I haven't done too much to it, actually. As you can see, I've put some metal mule panniers on it, which are absolutely fantastic, waterproof. Yeah, they came out top in our test last year. I've changed the exhaust on it. I've put something a little bit lighter on there and a little bit louder, but still street legal, of course. I've got my Garmin GPS up in the cockpit area, and I've also added an RNG radiator guard down here in front of the radiator, just because I have been taking it off-road and I don't want to get, great big lumps of dirt and rocks damaging my radiator. Other than that, I've left it completely standard. Let's be absolutely clear about this. I really, really, really love this bike. I mean, I really, really love it. But it has not been without its niggles and troublesome problems. There were a couple of things I mentioned in the review last summer. The key ignition down here is just such a pain in the bum, particularly with my gloves on. I can't get in there. And I also mentioned last summer about heat from that great big 1190 twin engine coming up underneath your bum and scorching you, particularly in the summer. And KTM actually have recognised that, and as one of their TIs, their technical improvements, I prefer to think of them as recalls in old school language, but they recalled it and shoved all this silver stuff underneath the seat to try and deal with the heat problem. And it has absolutely no effect whatsoever. I think any heat that was there just comes up around your thighs as opposed to in your crotch. They've done some other technical improvement recalls as well. My centre stand is looking particularly clean and unsullied. That's because it's been replaced. There were apparently some issues with centre stands failing when the bike was being put up. Another little niggle with the bike, and it's kind of balanced with a really good feature, is when you're changing the tyres. So the bike's got remote tyre pressure sensors, which I actually think is a really great idea, but they're really, really delicate, and you've got to be so careful if you're changing tyres yourself, which I've done quite a few times, from road tyres to knobbly tyres. And I've got Conti Trail Attack 2s on this, and I've frequently changed the TKC 80s if I'm going off-road, and I've damaged the remote sensor once, and it was quite an expensive mistake. There is one thing that has made me genuinely sad about this motorcycle, and that's the fact that twice in the last 10 months it's had to go back on the recovery truck to the shop because it wouldn't start. And the problem has been exactly the same both times. It's the starter motor's failed, and just over a period of months it's just got harder and harder for the starter motor to crank the engine and get it started. And if that had happened if I'd been away on a big adventure somewhere, I just don't know what I would have done. That's not an easy fix. And actually to the point now where the most recent starter motor they've put into it has been an upgraded model. So actually it's absolutely fine now. So I do really, really still love the bike, but it's not been without its niggles. So of course the big question is, would I still have room for one of these in my garage? Well, of course I would. I love it so much. It's beautiful, but it's mine and I love it. Now I'm handing over to our producer Tom, who in a very similar vein to the KTM 1190 Adventure R, absolutely loved the Tiger 800 XE. In fact, he loved it so much, he bought it as well.
So this is my bike, the Triumph Tiger 800 XE, which I was lucky enough to get on long-term test from Triumph. It was given to us originally to take all the way up to Nordcap for a different TV series, the Great Arctic Bike Off, and I fell in love with it. They let me borrow it for a few months after the show, and I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with it so much that I actually ended up very much like Graham, parting with my own cash, and now this is actually mine.
De mi cuerpo.
So what's it like to use on a daily basis? Well, I love the triple engine. It's incredibly smooth, which means that normal everyday riding, when you go into meetings, etc., it's just bliss to ride. It's completely smooth, and you could be riding any number of sports bikes. It's absolutely lovely. But then it has the grunt and it has the agility that I need when I do take this green laning. This bike, you know, did cost me a bit of money when I bought it off Triumph, so I had to get rid of my KTM 640. But actually, I still love riding this off-road, and green laning I still have great fun, and I can't wait to do more on it. And we will be doing more on it. But like any bike, it has some niggles. This one is fitted with metal mule panniers, and it doesn't take well to having panniers on this bike. At 70 mile an hour, you can feel the motion coming through your handlebars, and it can be quite frustrating. The instrument display is interesting. It has a few little things that just kind of get a bit frustrating. It's an electronic speedo, so sometimes it doesn't seem to be able to keep up with you. Only just, but just noticeable. And it also has this strange thing of when you fill the tank, it takes maybe 10 minutes for it to show its actual full fuel reading, which again can be quite frustrating and quite disconcerting. Then there's the keys. Unlike Graham's bike, they are nice and easy to get to, but they are very fiddly when it comes to actually taking them out. You have to kind of do a press, then release, then turn, rather than a press and turn. And that feels a bit strange to me. And it always turns out to be very, very fiddly. But if I'm honest, this bike has so few niggles. I love it. When I first met Graham, one of the first discussions we had, almost like a break in the ice, was if we could only have one bike, of any type of bike, what bike would we go for? And I said the Triumph Tiger 800 XE. And then I got to ride one and it didn't disappoint. And that's a great feeling. Now we are going to be doing something quite exciting with this bike. We're going to work with a few different manufacturers to make this bike the ultimate rally adventure bike. Now you might wonder what I'm talking about when I say a rally adventure bike. But I'm quite competitive and I like to race. I've done the Dawn to Dusk and I'm going to do the Dawn to Dusk again this year. And I want to have something that I can race in things like the All Terrain Rally Series. But at the same time, I don't have the money to have a great big van that takes my specialised bike to these rallies. So what I wanted to do is create a fantastic bike which is set up for full rallying, so it'll even have road book and things like that. But at the same time, I can travel to the event and return from the event with the same bike. So literally, you turn up at the event, you take your panniers off, you adjust your suspension settings, and you're ready to go. We're also going to make this bike look special. It's the Adventure Bike TV bike. It's going to be our brand ambassador. So keep an eye out. We're hoping to have it all finished by about June. Exciting times. But yeah, in conclusion, I love it. I absolutely love it. And you couldn't now prise it from my dead cold fingers.
We've got some really sad news that we just struggled with how to tell you. And that news is that mid-month news is, well, it's dead. It's gone. To be honest, we just couldn't make it work. We couldn't keep it up to date. The format we just couldn't get it right. And actually it was just a bit crap. On the upside though, we're replacing it with something much, much better. We are doing Adventure Bike TV's top 10s. And of course they're our opinion, because actually that's what's most important and we don't care what anybody else thinks. They will be showing every month separately to the main show, but just for a treat, here's our first one. Welcome to Adventure Bike TV's Top 10s. This month, the top 10 useless motorcycle accessories. In at number 10, bright, in-your-face paint job. Okay, that's a bit harsh, it's a picture of me. In at number 9, turbos. I mean, really? Do you really need more speed on your GS Adventure? Coming in at number 8, motorcycle to snowmobile conversion kits. Cool, but you'll probably die. At number 7, it's motorcycle trailers. Actually, we want to test one of these on the show, but if you need one, you've probably packed too much. At 6, we have helmet, stick-on, mohawks, ears, etc. I don't think that needs explaining. At number 5 comes bike racks for bikes. I actually quite like this idea, but I am in the minority, I think. Number 4 is on-bike sound systems. Don't subject everybody to your terrible taste in music. Use Bluetooth like everybody else. Coming in at number 3, mounted barbecues and hot plates. Pack a stove! What are you playing at? In at number 2, yes, they actually sell these. Gear changer covers to keep your white trainers clean. And in the number 1 spot, this is a body tent. It's just, there's just no words. Oh dear. So that was Adventure Bike TV's top 10 useless motorcycle accessories. Do you agree with our list? Did we miss something out? Let us know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. The Adventure Bike TV top 10s are going to be on twice a month in between the main show. And actually we do value your opinions, so if you've got any ideas about what else we could do, or if we've got it right or wrong, watch us on Vimeo and YouTube and tell us what you think. Now it's time for the adverts, and when we come back it's time for our regular features.
We have the largest selection of hard luggage under the one roof in this country. Bollocks. We are the sole UK stockist of the Redverse 10, the original Park Your Bike in the Garage 10. We also have a range of tents and other camping equipment from a number of trusted brands. That was
Welcome back from the break. Now, I'd like to start off this section with a personal message. It's an apology to Tom the producer for my irresponsible and inappropriate behaviour in the fracas that I caused at the end of last month's show, and thank you for not reporting me to the authorities. It is becoming more and more commonplace for global motorcycle adventurers to get their bikes transported or shipped to anywhere in the world. It might be South America, North America, Australia, it doesn't really matter. So we've come to James Cargo to find out a bit more about how it all works. So we've now come inside to find out a bit more about how this all works in practice, and I'm with Giles, who looks after all the motorcycle shipping. But before we get into all the detail, I'm going to ask Giles a bit more about James Cargo, because actually the company's been going for a very long time and doesn't just do motorbikes, does it?
No, you're exactly right. James Cargo started in 1980, and since then they have specialisations in pets and livestock, and obviously general cargo, but also the side that we're concerned with, which is the motorcycle and vehicle shipping.
Okay, so we'll talk about the bikes. So if I'm planning my trip and I'm thinking about transporting it, I've decided to transport it to wherever it is I'm going, and I need to think about the shipping, what do I need to do either before I leave home in terms of preparation, and then once I get here, if indeed I'm going to drop the bike off here?
Beforehand, we would always ask customers to, for air freight, have less than a quarter of a tank of fuel, and the battery for air freight would stay connected. For ocean freight, we would need the battery disconnected and the fuel drained down too.
We've got a whole kind of raft of things to make that if I'm transporting my bike, I need to make sure I'm not leaving them in my panniers or tucked away in the toolkit. So just talk us through the kind of things I need to make sure I remove from the bike.
Of course, yes. This is something that a lot of people overlook, but it is very, very important. And at the most important scale, it's really the safety with an aircraft with passengers. Some of these items, they may not look it, but are incredibly volatile. Just these little CO2 canisters that many people forget and leave underneath the saddles of their bikes. We have a photograph which shows one of these has gone off, not with us luckily, but literally the side of the aircraft underneath the cockpit is just gone when the pressure's changed. And some of these items, they've all got some form of hazardous marking on them, either flammable or corrosives, and it's really just for safety. We have to sign dangerous goods declarations, so if things are left in there and we haven't found it, then it does come back to us, and it will become a legal matter for us.
Okay.
So we have to, that's the side of our business we have to take very, very seriously.
And in terms of actually packing a bike up, I mean, I worked with you guys a few years ago when I came back from West Africa, but we just left our bike with the shippers. We didn't see it packed up. So just talk us through the different types of packing and actually how you get a bike packed up.
Yeah, of course. Depending on how the bike's being transported, if it's by road, so usually within Europe or within a continent, we would either send crated or uncrated, and the uncrated method means that it would go onto a specific motorcycle truck that would only carry loose motorcycles. By air freight, everything would go in a crate, and then there's two options. There's a lightweight packing system which we use, which is absolutely fine. It offers a good level of protection, but it's a more cost-effective way of doing things, and it works really well for our world traveller customers. We offer an additional level of packing, which is a really solid, hard wooden case, and that tends to be favoured more by classic bike owners, race bike owners, people with really high value motorcycles, because there is additional cost with that just for the material and the time. And often we'll be shipping tour groups or even large collections of bikes, and when we do that they will go into either a 20-foot or a 40-foot shipping container, and then we would secure each bike in there ready to go.
Now I'm with the guys who actually do all the packing of the bikes here at James Cargo. I'm with Steve.
Graham?
And with Jim.
Oh yeah.
Gentlemen, do your stuff.
The bike is checked and then it is bubble wrapped with tender loving care. After the bubble wrap is introduced, it's taped, photographed, and then the sides are introduced, which is a wood and cardboard base. The top goes on. If it's got a screen, the likes of a GS, we keep the screen on. So we use what we call in the trade a chimney, and it allows the bike to be taken straight off at the other end and can be ridden straight away. and that is basically it. Labels, taped, banded, and ready to ship.
Yeah, it's finally secured. Once we've over-checked it all, they're ready to go, aren't they? Straight into the airport from there.
Absolutely.
We've been doing motorcycles now for 10 years. We're all bikers ourselves, both with adventure bikes, classic bikes, on-road, off-road. So we really appreciate being among bikes every day. We understand the worries that customers may have with giving their own bikes to other people. And yeah, it's very important to us to get it right in our reputation. We also like to be very honest as well and offer a high level of service. We find that many people like to overcomplicate the whole process and what's required, but it doesn't need to be. It is relatively simple, and we try to break it down into manageable chunks to try to explain to people what to do.
And you help people with not just necessarily the freight and the shipping paperwork, but you help with other paperwork like carnet as well, don't you?
Yes, of course. Things like carnet de passage, we'll always put people in contact with the necessary body in each country. Commercial carnets, we can organise that for customers as well. And then it's just a matter of specific documents, usually sort of passport copies, registration copies, bills of sale, if bikes are being sold.
Now, before we started doing this, you were a bit nervous about going on camera, but you have been on camera before, haven't you?
I may well have been,
Yes.
I think the prize for the biggest partiers of the evening has got to go to the James Cargo crew.
So there is the proof that Giles is actually exceptionally comfortable in front of the camera.
That was at Horizons last year, wasn't it?
It was, yes, yeah. And it's worth mentioning these guys are a whole host of events every year for the motorbikers and adventurers, and they also do a mean barbecue. So make sure you track them down, have a chat with them. They're actually very, very nice chaps.
Yeah, please come and join us for a drink and ask any questions that you may have.
Now it's time for Top Tech. On this month's Top Tech, we've got the XPED Cloudburst 25 waterproof ultralight pack. Let me just read you what it says about it. It's the perfect combination of waterproof packsack and lightweight backpack. What does that actually mean in reality? Well, it's a 25 litre waterproof bag with a roll top closure that has lightweight mesh straps, so it doubles up as a rucksack. And actually it's a really great piece of kit because it's incredibly small, incredibly light. If you carry it around empty, it can just be put anywhere on the bike, but then it's a waterproof, lightweight rucksack. And I'm reliably informed by the producer that he owned the previous version of this and he thought it was absolutely fantastic. As always, Cotswold Outdoor have given us one of these as a prize, and if you're interested in winning it, go to the competition page on the Adventure Bike TV website. You may remember that last year we showed you the first episode of an adventure that the Adventure Bike TV team did up to the Arctic Circle and beyond. Here's the second episode. Setting out to prove that it is possible to have a life-changing travel adventure in just 2 weeks has become a bit of an obsession with me. My name is Graham Hoskins, and this particular 2-week travel adventure will take our team almost 5,000 miles in just 2 weeks, all the way along the Arctic Highway to Nordkapp in Norway, the northernmost point of Europe. Finding the most interesting people to meet and places to see will bring us all the way back home from Nordkapp, through Finland and Eastern Europe, on the Great Arctic Bike-Off. about to arrive at the Arctic Circle Raceway. And as you ride through the mountains, you think, right, this is a F1 and MotoGP level circuit. Where on earth do they fit that in the mountains?
The Arctic Raceway is actually Norway's biggest racetrack. Built back in 1995, it measures almost 2.5 miles long and is the world's only racetrack north of the Arctic Circle. Because of this unique location, it is also the only racetrack in the world where you can race in 24 hours of continuous sunlight during the summer. For us, it was just a huge playground with no limits on what we were allowed to do.
That's such good fun. Even on an adventure bike, it's absolutely brilliant.
Once again, the afternoon was running away with us, and we still had to reach the Arctic Circle before we lost the light.
We're just sort of the gateway to the Arctic Circle. I'm really excited. Going to the Arctic Circle. Oh.
You find us sat on the Arctic Circle. We've hit our first objective after a day that's been all about the riding. And I thought it seemed appropriate that as we were here, we should all strike a pose. So strike a pose. I shall start at the beginning.
Sorry, can I film Martin coming down there? Just in case he falls. Sorry, Graham. I just thought that might make interesting footage.
It's not even going to make it to the bloopers and outtakes, it's going to be prime slot. Be careful. There you go.
Whoa.
Once the wood goes, that'll be fine.
Despite the sunshine, the temperature was bitterly cold, not far above zero, and we needed to prepare ourselves for cold riding.
Did anybody notice all the giant fences just randomly up on the moors and everything when we was driving through Troll Country the other day? And there was the
solar panels.
No, there was the fences and there was the electricity. Oh God, what's the word for it? Electricity
Panels.
The Arctic Highway appears on many maps as the E6, and we came down through the mountains, winding our way around the Norwegian fjords. However, it is not possible to ride it all the way to Nordkapp. A ferry is required to cross between Bonjes and Skiberget. As we were coming close to the end of the day's riding near, and I will apologise for my pronunciation, Nordkjosbot, we wondered why we were seeing so many bikes on the road. As we rounded a mountain pass near the town, we got our answer. A weekly bike meeting, where there were at least 200 riders, along with all their kit.
Yes,
Which
but
city?
from Romania.
From Romania.
Yeah, to Hungary, because he's living in Hungary.
And you're already friends?
Yeah.
These guys also stopped and we've just been having a chat now. And it turns out they're doing virtually the same trip as we are, except for they started off in Romania and Hungary. Looks like similar sort of ideas. We're going to be doing a bit of wild camping and everything and travelling back around the Balkans all the same way. So we can swap stories en route.
We thought as it was, we are above the Arctic Circle and we are next to the Arctic Sea, it would be rude not to go and have a swim in it. To be honest, we're all a bit half-hearted about it because it's so cold and the sun's gone in. But we're gonna go straight in, swim half a mile out, and swim back. Yeah, this is the Arctic. This is World's Best Biking Adventures, Arctic Circle's answer to the Ice Bucket Challenge.
And we challenge anybody in the world to beat this.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3, go.
People driving past must think we're nuts.
And my great excitement at arriving was slightly dampened by the price of getting past the gate, which takes you to the right to the very end. 25 quid each. Shocking price. But she did say, if you walk over the mountain, I can't see you. So.
Why I'm currently so out of breath.
Because you're unfit. Because we're walking. Even if we're parked there, we'd be walking. We just walk 5 minutes. We've just walked 5 minutes to avoid paying the 100 quid. So behind me, there's nothing but sea and ice until you get to the North Pole. And that way is the whole of Europe.
Today was actually our longest day of riding, almost 500 miles south through Norway and on into Lapland and Finland. In stark contrast to the windy roads of Norway, our route through Lapland was very long, very straight roads.
We're in Finland.
As we rode south, we stopped again at the Arctic Circle, where Tom struggled to cross a stream.
Go on, Tom. Go on, Tom.
Monday morning, it's still bright and early, and we're off with Rucker Safaris. We're going to go and try something called RZR cars.
Our guide took us on a winding route that in the winter would be filled with skiers.
I'm struggling to work out what's more fun, this or going up the track on the Arctic Raceway. I think in terms of the grin factor, it's this. It's just brilliant. To show how much fun you can have at low speed, it's just brilliant.
Ahead of us was another full day and the end of our time in Finland. We were aiming for Helsinki and a ferry over to Estonia. As we headed further south, the roads became more like the European tarmac we are usually accustomed to. we were making great progress. But then, my worst nightmare.
Enjoyed that, and you'd like to see more of what happened, including Mark having a crash, and it was a really big crash. I mean, really hurt his arm, poor fellow. Go to the Adventure Bike TV online shop and you can buy the DVD. Next, we've got a little preview of something coming up next month where we're sending another member of the Adventure Bike TV team to the other side of the world on a really fabulous adventure.
I've been locked away in the sales dungeon for months, but I've managed to persuade the producer to let me go off on one of my own adventures. So I'm going to be leaving this wet, windy, miserable weather behind and head off down to South Africa to join Kapstad Tours on a round trip, Joburg through Swaziland and back home. I'm really looking forward to this trip, certainly riding on roads in Swaziland I've never been before, and also using kit I've not used before. I've been lucky enough to get a hold of one of these fantastic new Venturo Touratech helmets. It is so light, I can't tell you, and the field of vision is remarkable. So 9 days with this should be great. Okay, all checked in, costed out, still got 2 hours to go, so it's going to be a JD Weatherspoon's visit, I suspect. I've spoken to Alex and Rains last week. Apparently one of the roads we're going to be using got washed out, so it'll end up being Adventure Bike TV via canoe. Anyway, 12.5-hour flight. Next time I talk to you, it'll be from sunny Joburg.
Can't wait to see what happens on that trip, and it's lovely to let Martin out of the office every once in a while. Now it's time for a break. And when we come back, we've got a fabulous Under the Visor, and I'll be spending my first night out with the ultimate budget adventure bike.
Adventure Bike Shop. We also do a wide range of soft luggage, if that's more your thing.
This year, the Adventure Travel Film Festival is moving to a new location.
So where are you kids heading? The Adventure Travel Film Festival. Sounds cool. Sounds cool? What's this?
See and feel
We really care about the adventure motorcycle market and try to make it as many shows as possible to see our customers. So if you can't come to the shop, come see us at a show.
Now it's time for Under the Visor, and this time it's the turn of our very own Nathan Millward.
James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.
I'm Nathan Millward. 34. Ride motorbikes since I was 12. And then I rode it home from Australia on a little 105 Australian post bike, CT 110, 7 horsepower, 37 mile per hour cruising speed. And then so did Sydney to London, 23,000 miles, 9 months. 18 countries, and then spent some time in England, and then carried on, shipped the bike to New York, flew the bike to New York, and then rode across to the west coast, then up to Alaska. So I guess the trip was effectively Sydney to Alaska. So 33,000 miles, 35,000 miles. Frustration, anger. I was very angry. I was very frustrated. I'd got a motorbike and I needed to go home because the visa was expiring, and a relationship had not worked in Australia. So instead of going off on a mad mental rage, I did. I suppose I rode home in a mad mental rage. And I don't think it matters. I think there's too many people even asking that question. I don't think it's even a relevant question. It's a bike is a bike, and some are more appropriate than others, and some are more appropriate for some situations than others. But I think you just got to take what you feel comfortable on and what's right for you at the time. I only took the postie bike because that's what I got. That's all I could afford. It suited my budget. It suited. I set off with so much just frustration that transferred into forward motion. So if I could have done 150 miles an hour home to Australia, home to England, I would have ridden at 150 miles an hour. Thankfully, the bike capped me at 37. So I could ride as fast and as hard as I wanted, but I was still only doing 37. So for me at that time, it was a perfect bike, and I wouldn't have wanted to do it on anything else. It made it affordable. It helped me blend in. It helped me meet people. It was great in the capacity of that trip. Riding that bike across America was miserable because you couldn't keep up with traffic. It fed you down to all the side roads, to the suburbs of the cities. You couldn't enjoy America because you were sort of hamstrung by the bike and its speed and its limitations. And any bike would have been better. Any bike with a bigger engine would have been better than that one. So to go up into Alaska, it was better because there's less traffic, less trucks, and so you can sort of slow down and enjoy the scenery of Alaska and the Yukon. Because motorcycling's in a bad state at the minute. We haven't got enough young people coming through. 10, 15 years time, there's not going to be the people to support the industry, and that's worrying. And I think the problem is because motorcycling is so fragmented. Even the divisions within motorcycling, the sports bikes, the cruisers, the adventure bikes, they're all sat apart from each other. And then within the adventure market, you've got, we're still crying over is a GS an adventure bike. I mean, who gives a shit? Like, a bike's a bike. So I think the sooner people drop all that nonsense, the better, really, and just accept that we need to get more people on bikes, because without more people on bikes, we're not going to have a bike industry. So I think people just should shut up arguing on forums and just get out riding and just be nice to each other and be grateful that other people are riding different bikes. It's just nonsense at the minute. That's all I've got to say on that. I was very fortunate. I got to India, and I was almost broke in India. I couldn't get my Iranian visa, so it was having to force me through northern Pakistan into China, where I'd need a guide. The guide had been quoted at $2,000 to get me into Kyrgyzstan. It was at that time that I got approached by an Australian publisher who'd happened to read a snippet in a newspaper in the Sydney Morning Herald about me riding my bike home from Australia. So they got in touch, said, look, we've seen your trip in the newspaper, it sounds interesting, have you thought about writing a book? So, and at the same time, if you sign your contract, we'll pay you in advance. I'm in India, need money, I get a book deal, I sign it straight away, and the $3,000 I got as an advance paid for China. So it was a very fortuitous, lucky, break that I got. So the book, so when I got home, I had the book to write. I was contractually obliged to write a book, so I had to write a book whether I wanted to or not. Sometimes I didn't want to write a book, but it to become an obligation, and I ended up writing it. Had I had the choice, I probably wouldn't have written it, but because I'd already took the money and paid for the trip, I had to write it. No, the book writing is a miserable process. It's draining, it's confrontational. You know, you can either pretend to be the person you'd like to be, or you can try and represent an honest. You can try and cut away the meat of it and just get to the bones of the truth, and then that's very. You're basically stripping yourself of all the bullshit lies about. You know, I don't know. You're just trying to get to you, who you are in the story, as it actually was, and so it's very. Yeah, it's isolating, and it drives you a bit crazy. You know, you'll spend 2 weeks locked in. I had to write. I bought a shed. And I got a little desk, it got no windows at the bottom of my parents' garden. And I'd just sit in that shed for like weeks on end, trying to say the right words, the right way to say it, second guessing myself, second guessing what the reader would want. You know, so you finally emerge from that shed and you can't even communicate. You just can't. Your mind's gone. So book writing is not a pleasurable process, but sometimes it's a good one. It helps you make sense of what happened. Really, sometimes that's good. Not always, but. I think, writing a book makes sense when you feel you've got something to say. If you've got nothing to say, there's no point writing a book. Because the trips themselves are just trips. It's just riding a motorbike a long way, which there's nothing really that interesting about that, really. It's just, I went here, I woke up, I slept, I rode. I woke up, I slept, I rode. There's nothing really that interesting about trips. But I felt the whole reason for doing that second trip, I felt I had more to say, like a conclusion to the first book, really. So that's why I've gone through the process of writing a second one.
James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.
Now it's time to see what happened when I took my ultimate budget adventure bike and ultimate budget adventure kit out for an overnight stay.
It's been a busy time over the last few weeks, and I've got to be honest and say that other than ordering some parts, I've really not given the budget bike quite the attention it deserves. Well, I've certainly made some progress on the budget bike. I've got my luggage system all sorted out, I've got the new light system on the back, indicators on the front, got the new mudguard on the front. Now, just going to see if it starts, because it's probably been about 2 months since I've had this thing going. At least it's turning over. Now, if ever there was proof that Honda engines are the most ultra-reliable engines in the world, that is it. Unfortunately, this bike isn't MOT'd at the moment. I just spotted that a bit early and it ran out a few days ago. So I'm not going to be able to take it out on the road. However, I am going to have a bit of a play around with some of the kit. In many respects, I've had a lot more success getting the kit for the budget adventure bike sorted out than the bike itself, or maybe I've just been trying a bit harder. But I mean, I've paid £8 for a sleeping bag, I've paid only about, in fact it was £34 for the crash helmet. I paid about 30 quid for a waterproof bivvy bag, because my plan is that a combination of the waterproof bivvy bag along with my homemade hammock and my homemade bivvy, combination of those three things and my sleeping bag, and I've got a roll mat that I got for about a tenner as well. Combination of all those things will keep me nice and warm and dry. Even my gloves I only paid a few quid for, and jacket I got for about, I think it was £12 or £13, and an old waterproof.
So I think for about 150 quid, I've pretty much got all my kit sorted. And there was one thing I was very proud of. And hopefully you remember on Adventure Bike TV back last summer, autumn, I showed everyone how to make one of these little things. And it's a stove made out of a Coke can. So the combination of that and my homemade stand means I can cook, and that cost me absolutely nothing. Anyway, now I have to get on with the bike. So the sun's gone down, it's getting cooler, and as you can see, got my hammock, got my little bivvy going, even got a little brew on the go. How can life get any better? Well, I'll tell you what, this homemade £9 hammock just doesn't cease to amaze me by how comfortable it is. And you know what? I'm really rather looking forward to spending the night here. Good night. Well, that's the end of this month's show. I'm a bit sad as it's finished because I was really rather enjoying it. But next month, make sure you tune in, because as well as all our usual great stuff, we're going to be doing a look back at the whole of our very first year. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next month.
Now talk to me.
What are we doing now?
Just annoying you at the moment.
Just annoying you?
No, I'm just annoying
Oh,
you.
you're annoying me. Graham's got fingers in places, intimate places.
That was quite tender.
Just like this. My impression of a giraffe in a James Cargo lorry.
Get back into bed. Reasons to be cheerful. Part 3.
The vault, and we start again. I don't want to say so. I keep on saying so, and it's so annoying.
The best thing is, you won't hear me on there, you'll just get you going. Okay, when you're ready.
When we're really famous, someone would take these outtakes and put it to music and make a rap song out of it. Anyway, that's what they do.
What rap song are you going to make out of that?
I don't know. That's not good.
One more time and then...
I did great. Great adverts, rubbish at adventures.
You get it wrong, it's yours. Right, we'll do it one more time and then...
I did great. Great adverts, rubbish at adventures.
I didn't hear it click. It's not. It's a recording. It's not a photo. But we will do a photo after this.
We're talking.
Okay. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Rubbish adverts,